I'm Landra Muhammad, and thank you for joining me on another video section of YouCanSurviveDisaster.com. On our last video portion, I showed everyone how to make the navy bean flour. And of course, you want to be able to use the flour to cook. So we're going to start with the staple in every Muslim home, a bean soup. So we can use the flour and make a very quick 20-minute or so quick bean soup. So let's see our ingredients. Of course, we're going to use the normal staples. I have 1 small onion diced, 1 stalk of celery diced, 1/2 red pepper diced, 1 green pepper diced, 1 clove of garlic, and we're going to use tomato sauce. I'll explain why a little bit later. We have our spices. I have seasoned salt, sugar, paprika, sage, turmeric. We've got some little pepper flakes here, and we have some cumin. Now, I know in our traditional bean soup recipe, we don't include cumin, and we may or may not include the pepper flakes and the turmeric. However, this is my quick house recipe, okay? So, of course, you're going to be utilizing whatever ingredients you normally use at home. Okay, and we have 4 cups of water, and the star of our show is 1/2 cup of navy bean flour. As well as on the stove, we have right here we go. On the stove, we have 1 tablespoon of corn oil and 2 tablespoons of butter. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to actually make a roux. So we're going to put our flour in the pan and round it up. I guess I should have had this a little bit hotter. Sorry. Okay. So what I like to do is, you know, like when you're making a gumbo, you have different levels of colors. The color that I like to utilize is like a peanut butter kind of color. So right now this would be a beige. I think you have like a caramel, and you just have to keep stirring it. That's one thing. But like I said, I like a peanut butter color for the roux. Now, of course, you don't want to eat raw flour. You wouldn't eat raw flour when you were making a gravy. The same applies here. Okay? Right now, I'm just showing you here. I'm not going to continue to cook it up, but you can see it bubbling, 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 cooking, 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 cooking. All right? So, you get an idea of what we're doing here. I'm going to switch pans here because I made some already. Okay, if you can come on in, Tiana. So this is the color that I like to use. So let me just warm it up a little bit again. Again, you want to continue to stir because it will burn. Now with this coloring, it has a very nutty flavor. A nutty smell, rather. I've actually never tried to eat it, you know, at this stage without any flavorings. Okay, so this, I believe, is warm enough. Now I'm going to begin to add our other ingredients. I'm going to add the spices right now. Oopsie. Adding the spices so that you don't have a very raw flavor once again. Even though it's a quick cooking soup, you want your soup to be flavorful. Okay? Alright, now that they have been incorporated, I'm going to add 4 cups of water. There we go. Now, if you notice, I'm using a wide pan here. Normally, you would be using a pot. However, I do think that for demonstration purposes only, the wide pan is easier for you to see inside. Okay? So now with any type of flour, and when you're adding a liquid, you have to allow it to come up to a boil for it to come to its highest thickening potential. We're moving really quick here because we're filming live. Now I can understand how it must feel working on the Food Network. Because you kind of have to go with the flow of things here. Alright. You want to keep stirring or whisking. I didn't bring out a whisk. Maybe I should have. And like I said, we want to bring that up to a boil. At this point, I'm going to add some tomato sauce. I'm going to add about a half a can of tomato sauce. Now, like I said before, we don't normally use tomato sauce. We use tomato paste. However, for my palate, I like the flavor of the tomato sauce a little bit better in this recipe, only because the tomato paste, it seems really, I don't know, tomatoey? And I don't love that so much. Okay. So, I'm trying to work some magic here and get it to boil as quickly as possible. Okay. At this point, what I'm going to do is add my vegetables. And I'm thinking I should have used a larger wide pan. But we'll be okay. I won't let it boil over. Even though we're very close. We're like up to the rim. You can probably hear my little friends in the background. I have some little friends that are with me. And honestly, this is all you have to do. You can come right on in, Anna. At this point, I would just allow the soup to cook down. Not really to cook down, but you know what, you want to, like I said, bring it up to a boil, because that's when it will be at its thickest potential, as well as if you, depending on how crisp you like your vegetables, that will also determine how long you'll cook it. Okay? And it's just that simple. So thank you once again for joining me, Sister Landra Muhammad, on YouCanSurviveDisaster.com. I didn't give you the address, the web address the last time. It's you, the letter, CanSurviveDisaster.com. And you know what? If you have any questions or concerns or something that you'd like for me to show, you can email me, Auntie Landra, AUNTIELANDRA @ AOL.com. May Allah continue to bless you. Assalamu alaikum.